Chapter 2, Computer Languages. We are living in an information age wherein we are dependent on digital information. Digital information is an electronic information that is a result of computer processing. Every type of job relies on getting information, using it and managing it. Computers enable efficient processing and storage of information. Computer languages are crucial to the operation of a computer. In this chapter, we will discuss computer languages. Chapter: What is a computer language? Language is a means of interacting with one another. Humans use a language to communicate with each other. We also need a language to communicate with the computer and give it instructions to make it perform operations. Such a language is called a computer language. A set of instructions written using a computer language is called a computer program. Since computer languages are mainly used for writing computer programs, we also call them programming languages. The process of writing a program is called programming. A person who writes computer programs to make computers perform a certain task is called a programmer. Computer languages can be broadly classified into 5 categories on the basis of their development. This categorization has been shown in the following flow diagram. Computer languages. First generation languages. Second generation languages. Third generation languages. Fourth generation languages, fifth generation languages. What is first generation language? 1GL. First generation language 1GL or machine languages are also known as low level languages LLL. Machine language is the only language that a computer directly understands. A machine language is a low-level language where the set of instructions is given in the form of a binary or hexadecimal number system to which the computer responds directly. Every set of instructions is a group of binary digits 1 and 0 interpreted directly by the Central Processing Unit CPU. For a given machine language, each unique combination of ones and zeros in an instruction has a unique interpretation. These instructions may vary with different hardware and is therefore difficult to write and manage. For example, instructions given for a particular machine to perform a task may be completely different from the set of instructions to perform the same task for some other machine. Advantages and disadvantages. The major advantage of using a machine language program is its speed. It is executed very fast as the computer directly understands the instructions. The disadvantage of using a machine language program is that it is difficult to understand and develop a program. It is also very difficult to find errors in a machine language program and modify it. Remember, a computer understands instructions only in the form of zeros and ones. First Second generation languages 2GL. Second generation language 2GL refers to the programming language that is associated with the assembly language. It is also regarded as low-level language LLL. Machine language programs were difficult to write and manage. Therefore, scientists created another language called the assembly language or assembler language, which is comparatively easier to program with. Here, instructions are given in the form of mnemonics, codes. For example, to add two numbers, the mnemonic add is used, and to subtract, SUB is used. Assembly language programs thus are also called symbolic machine code. As assembly language programs are not directly understood by the machine, it requires an assembler to translate the program to machine language for the computer to understand. Advantages and disadvantages. The major advantage of using assembly language program compared to machine language is that it is easier to write as the instructions are written in the form of symbolic instructions, which gives it more readability. However, assembly language programs are not as fast as machine language programs, as the language first needs to be conveyed to machine language before execution. It is difficult to find errors in and modify an assembly language program. Second, third generation languages 3GL. The limitations of machine language and assembly language led programmers to develop a language which is machine independent, resembles English or any other spoken language, and includes familiar mathematical symbols. These languages are known as third generation languages 3GLs or high level languages HLL. High level language allows the programmer to concentrate on the logic of the problem to be solved rather than the details of the machine architecture, such as ones that are required with low-level languages. This is because high-level languages are independent of the underlying hardware architecture. The following example shows a sample program written in QBASIC to accept two numbers from the user and display their sum. The above program now looks simpler and closer to humans and is therefore easy to understand. A translator is required to convert the language of a high-level language program to machine language for the computer to understand it. Remember, correcting errors in a program is called debugging. Advantages. Programs written in high-level languages are comparatively more readable than those written in low-level languages. Programs written in high-level languages can run with different machine architecture with little or no change. It is easier to remove errors in a program. Example, easy debugging. Disadvantages. It requires a translator program to convert a program written in high-level language to a machine language program. It does not execute directly on the computer. Some examples of third generation high-level languages. The first high-level programming languages were designed in the 1950s. Some examples of high-level languages and their uses are given below. COBOL, COBOL. COBOL, Common Business Oriented Language, is designed for business use. Fortran, Fortran, Formula Translation, is a general purpose procedural imperative programming language that is especially suited to numeric computation and scientific computing. Basic, beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code, is a very simple language. MSW, Logo, LOGO, logic oriented, graphic oriented, is a simple procedural programming language designed for education. Pascal, PASCAL, is a general purpose language used to develop application programs. C language. C is a general purpose computer programming language developed between 1969 and 1973 by Dennis Ritchie at the Bell Telephone Laboratories. Difference between low-level and high-level languages. Having understood low-level and high-level languages, let us learn the difference between the two in a nutshell. Low-level languages, high-level languages. Low-level languages are difficult to learn and understand. It is easy to learn high-level languages as they are closer to human languages. Programs in low-level languages are faster in execution compared to those in high-level languages. Programs in high-level languages are executed slower than those in lower-level languages because they require a translator program. Low-level languages enable the programmer to write programs at hardware level. High-level languages do not provide much facility at hardware level compared to low-level languages. It is necessary to have a deep knowledge of hardware to write programs in a low-level language. High-level languages are built in such a way that hardly any knowledge of hardware is required to write programs. These languages are generally used to write programs related to direct hardware manipulation. These are usually used to write application programs. Machine language and assembly language are examples of low-level languages. Basic, Perl, Pascal, COBOL and Ruby are the examples of high-level language. Third generation. Fourth generation languages, 4GLs. 4GLs are closer to human language than older high-level languages and are accessible to people without formal training as programmers. Thus, the programmer only needs to worry about what problems need to be solved and what conditions need to be met, without worrying much about the implementation details to solve them. Moreover, these languages contain enough tools and components to design graphical interface that requires simple efforts like drag and drop, and therefore the programmers need not waste their time in designing the interface and can concentrate only on the task to be performed in each of these components. Examples of fourth generation languages are Visual Basic, Visual C++, and Structured Query Language SQL. Advantages of 4GLs. Fourth generation languages are easy to learn and understand. Less time is needed to create an application using a 4GL. Programs written using 4GL are less prone to errors. Disadvantages of 4GLs. Programs using 4GLs consume a large amount of computer memory. Like most other high-level languages, these have poor control our hardware. 4GL programs tend to be less flexible and are often used for database manipulation or report generation. Fifth generation languages, 5GLs. Fifth generation languages, 5GLs, or advanced high-level languages are used in artificial intelligence research. It is designed to make the computer solve a given problem without the programmer. The user only needs to worry about what problems need to be solved and what conditions need to be met without worrying about how to implement a routine or algorithm to solve them. Examples of fifth generation languages include Mercury, OPS5 and Prolog. Advantages of 5GLs. They reduce the programmer's efforts required to solve a problem. They are easier than 3GL or 4GL to learn, use and understand. Disadvantages of 5GLs. They often have a long and complex code. 5GL programs are often expensive to make as more resources are needed. Fifth, language processors. Every high-level language like Pascal, Fortran, C, C++ and Java has its own language processor. It is basically a language processor or a translator that converts a high-level language program source code into a machine language program object code which can be executed by a computer. This is required because computer understands instructions in machine code, example, in the form of zeros and ones. It is difficult to write a computer program directly in machine code. Therefore, we write the program using high-level language similar to English and then translate the source code into machine code. Language processors can broadly be classified as assemblers, compilers, interpreters. Assemblers are programs that convert a program written in assembly language to machine language. Assembly language program, assembler, machine language program. Compilers. A compiler is a program which translates a program written in a high-level language into a machine language program that can be understood by the computer, or it may be an intermediate representation that is interpreted by a virtual machine, example Java bytecode. Generally, a compiler reads the entire program and creates a separate machine language code for execution. In case these are bugs or coding errors, it does not create the machine language code but lists all the errors for rectification. High-level language program, compilers, machine language program. Remember, a bug is a coding error in a computer program. Interpreters. Interpreters are also responsible for converting the language to machine language, except this time it reads the program line by line and converts the language of each line to machine language and executes it. In case there is an error, the entire process of translation and execution stops. Examples: Basic and Ruby, Python. High-level language program read line by line. Compilers converts the line to machine language and executes it. Differences between interpreter and compiler. Interpreter, compiler. The interpreter translates the program by taking up a single line at a time. The compiler translates the entire program at one go. It takes less amount of time to analyze the source code, but the overall execution time is more. It takes a large amount of time to analyze the source code, but the overall execution time is comparatively less. No intermediate object code is generated, hence it is memory efficient. It generates intermediate object code which further requires linking, hence it requires more memory. It continues translating the program until the first error is met, in which case it stops. Hence debugging is easy. It generates the error message only after scanning the entire program. Hence debugging is comparatively hard. Programming languages like Python and Ruby use interpreters. Programming languages like C and C++ use compilers. Language. Sum up. Computer language is a language through which you give instructions the computer. The process of writing a computer program is called programming. Program is a set of instructions given to the computer to perform a particular job or task. Execution of a program refers to the response the computer gives to each instruction given to it. Computer programming languages are divided into 5 main generations: first generation languages to fifth generation languages. There are 3 types of language processors, namely assembler, interpreter and compiler. First and second generation languages are called low-level languages, and third, fourth and fifth generation languages are called high-level languages. An assembler is used to convert programs written in assembly language to machine language. A compiler is used to convert an entire program written in high-level language to a machine language program. An interpreter is used to convert the language of each line to machine language and execute it.